So I grew up in the 80s, right when iconic film franchises like Nightmare on Elm Street and Friday the 13th were in full swing. And I can remember going with my friends before sleepovers to a video rental store called Tidal Wave and picking up a bunch of movies and candy to get ready for the big night. In about 3rd or 4th grade, we were all very interested in horror films. It was this sort of rite of passage to see if you could rent a horror movie and watch it to the very end and come out alive or not. So when I was looking for a good horror flick to watch, I'd always pull out the box, look at the back in hopes of seeing some sort of a sneak peek into a gory scene. See, at that time I was all about Garbage Pail Kids, so my head was always full of bloody, gory imagery, and it was awesome.
I think they're icky.
I've even got this vintage Garbage Pail Kids poster that shows the entire first series. Check it out. Gory is something so much fun to do in your own films because it gets such a visceral reaction from whoever watches it. But there are going to be times when you just simply do not have access to special effects makeup, blood, prosthetics. Maybe you don't have a dummy that you can beat up, so what do? Well, you're still gonna smash a head, you're just not gonna show it. You're gonna do what's called an implied head smash. This means you don't actually see the head smash happen on screen. All the bloody and gory stuff happens off screen, and your mind and imagination fills in all the gory details. Now, if you do want to do a head smash that you do see on screen, I did a tutorial video on how to do this a while back, so if you'd like to see that, check it out here. So I'm going to explain to you how you can do your own off-screen head smash, but first, let's take a look at the scene that I just made in which we have an off-screen head smash. Roll it. Ooh, nice and juicy. And if you'd like to see the full film, which is called The Dusty Dame, I'll put a link to that in the description below. All right, I've got 4 tips on how to make a really effective off-screen implied head smash. Let's take a look. Number 1, show actual fighting. So in The Dusty Dame, we have an actual fight scene. And in this fight scene, we choreographed it in such a way that it looks like both of the characters are getting hit. Now what this does is it primes your brain to prepare itself for seeing and believing physical contact between the characters. So later on, when you imply one of them is getting hit, the brain is already primed and ready to imagine what that could look like. If you take a look at the fight, you can see that our shots were designed to position the camera in such a way that when the character is swinging, as you can see here, we don't see the fist making contact with the face because of the angle, but it does look real because the person getting hit reacts in such a way that looks like the fist actually hit the face. Trick number 2, use a realistic prop. So for our scene, we decided to use a crowbar. Now, the reason why you want to use something that looks realistic or is a prop that most people will know what it is because it makes it easy for the audience to envision in their mind what they would feel like, the weight of it, what it would feel like if you actually had to get hit by it. So we decided to use a crowbar because this is something that most people know. Step number 3, body language. Does the person look like they're actually hitting something? Does it look like the crowbar that she's lifting up over her head and smashing down into his head look heavy? Is she struggling to lift it back up after doing it so many times? Let's take a look at some of the earlier takes here. And as you can see, it doesn't look super realistic. As you can see here, where the stunt choreographer showed her how to swing the crowbar to make it look more believable. So we took some time out, we stopped rolling, took some time to really practice that, because this was a pivotal moment in the scene. It really had to look real, and body language was a huge way we were going to sell this, like she was actually smashing his head. All right, tip number 4, sound design. So this is where we bring in the ears into the scene, because it's not just about visuals, because as you can see, pun intended, you don't see anything. So you really got to be able to sell it through the sound. We break this up into several different layers. The first layer is the human grunting. So you can hear her and you can hear him. So let's just listen to it with just that. Okay, so after the human sounds, we're gonna add in the sound of the impact of the crowbar to the body. Lastly, we have the sound of the crowbar. Now, the sound of the crowbar isn't necessarily heard when she's hitting him. However, it is heard when she tosses the crowbar aside onto the ground. Now, like I said earlier, this crowbar was actually foam. It was foam rubber. So if you were to drop this on the ground, it wouldn't really make the sound of metal. So I added that sound effect of it in post, of the sound of metal hitting the ground. So again, it kind of seals the deal that what she had in her hand was real, it was heavy, it was metal. It sounds painful, it sounds dangerous. So let's watch it one more time with all the sounds together. So that is how you do an off-screen implied head smash without having to show the head being smashed at all. So if you guys do get out there and try this technique, please send me a link. I would love to see how you guys interpreted this technique. Because it's going to be very different. You're probably going to use a different weapon. You'll have a different location. You'll have different angles of how you capture the person hitting the other person. So if you make something, send me a link and I will give it a look. Otherwise, that is it. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below, or you can reach me at my website, which is dream19.com. Otherwise, keep creating, and we'll see you next time.